Gabby Thomas is a reigning Olympic gold medalist in the 200-meter dash, and unfortunately, we will not get to see her defend that crown at the World Championships in 2025. Allow me to explain, because news just broke that she will be pulling out of the championship meet, specifically with an Achilles injury. That is surprising, but not all that surprising, because if you were following her at the USA Championships, she just flat out didn't look like herself. Before her preliminary round in the 200, I remember saying, just looking at her face, the gun hadn't even gone off yet. I was like, you know what? Something's wrong. She don't look like she's right. And then she ran like she wasn't right. But because of her talent, notice, I said that part. She ran her way into the final and then did the exact same thing in that event, where in the final, she didn't look like herself, came off the turn, she was, pretty far back in the pack, but again, ran her way onto Team USA, basically on what you could call hard. Because people have to understand, when you're that talented, you don't actually have to be your best self to beat everybody else, or at least most people. But now that she will not be running at the World Championships, what does it actually mean? Because this is not good. Let me tell you, this is not good. Not at all. It's not good for her, it's not good for the sport, and there are a whole lot more conversations that come up than most people might initially realize. But trust me, I'm going to hop into all of it, because no, this is not a video I planned on making, but then again, nobody planned on making this video until the news broke. So now that we're here, let's have the real conversation. The first thing is when we just think about Gabby Thomas herself. Generally speaking, in the 200, you don't get medals from 2021 till now without going through her. She has medals at both Olympics. We know that, she just came off of a gold. She has medals at the World Championships. 2022 was the blip on the radar because she was dealing with an injury at that time. So now we're in 2025 and we're seeing an injury show up as, another thing that's, holding her back. So now that that's on the board, let's be clear. This year, Melissa Jefferson Wooden has looked like a serious problem, not just in the 100, but in the 200. And she did beat Gabby Thomas at Grand Slam. I'm coming back to that in a moment. Because that has happened, and she won the American Championship, there are some questions about, Shericka Jackson and whether or not, she can run like herself. Because if she does, hey, the 200-meter gold, I'm giving it to her. For what we've seen at her best. But if that doesn't happen, I guess it starts to become wide open. And Melissa Jefferson Wooden moves very high now on that list. Somebody who could snatch the gold aside from Julian Alfred. Maybe, I guess we're just going to have a dual meet between them two, in the 100 and the 200. Because everybody knows they're the favorites in the 100. And perhaps the 200, it might be the same thing. But hey, competitively, you just took one of the, not a lock, but almost a lock to get a medal. You just took her out of the field. So somebody's about to get a medal this year who likely wasn't going to get it, especially if Gabby Thomas was healthy. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, and if you really want to know what's going on with the fastest athletes in the world, then you are in the right place. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. Remember, she pulled out of the World Championships, but we saw Gabby Thomas race a whole lot this year. And now that brings up a much larger conversation. Because Grand Slam track and what it brought to the sport this year, Gabby Thomas is one of the athletes who fully bought in. She was a racer. She competed in all the slams that they had, was slated to do so, and I think the races that she was a part of were some of the most exciting that they gave us. There was never a time where the sprint group with Gabby Thomas in it was not a premier event. Part of it is her. So when she comes out of the World Championships, just on that event, the way that we market track and field, and yes, I am talking from the American perspective right now. In America, we don't actually market the sport. We market the athletes. And when I say the athletes, I mean the best athletes. If you have a gold medal at the World Championships, that might mean something. But if you have one at the Olympics, forget about it. You are now the poster child for USA track and field. We see your face, and we identify your name. And everybody else might as well be wallpaper. Because when you just make Team USA, that's not an accomplishment. You're supposed to go over and beat everybody and get medals, specifically gold. If you don't win a gold medal, it's almost like you never went. I'm not saying that people don't care who are trackety track fans, but casual sports fans don't even really acknowledge it. It's winning an Olympic gold medal, for example, is the one thing you can do in track and field that might make you semi-relevant in the larger sports context in America. And last time I checked, Gabby Thomas is American. So am I. So with that in mind, her not being at the Worlds does, bring down the profile when it comes to marketing or pushing the sport. Because the World Championships is the biggest event that we have right now for people to focus on. I brought up Grand Slam, and I'm going to bring it up again now, because that was a pro track event. It was intended to be a pro track circuit, and Gabby Thomas went all in, from what I can tell, with Grand Slam. It's questionable, or I guess just being real, arguable, that she likely wouldn't be dealing with this type of injury. Because Achilles injuries, I've had an Achilles surgery. It takes about a year to get back to, running and jumping and, feeling like yourself. But, hopefully, she's able to improve and, get herself back and probably not need surgery or something like that. Because, hey, I've been through it myself. But just in general, the amount of races that she ran on the pro circuit in that space, it was different. And it did hit her body differently. And by the time she got to USA's, whatever was going on was, unusual for her body to kind of sustain. The split when it comes to pro track is, if everything's about world championships, then the only thing that matters, or world championships / Olympics. Because again, in the American context, that's not the same thing. The Olympics actually matters, and the world championships kind of matter specifically to the track world. Like, in our nation, people don't care about the worlds. That's why Noah Lyles was, talking about it in an interview where they asked him a question and got clipped down, and it became a whole, powder keg thing here in America where you had pro athletes, specifically in the NBA, upset at him. Like, it is what it is. Like, that's just the nature of the sport right now. So if the Worlds is what we're doing, if that's the epitome of the sport, which is an international event, not necessarily a pro track event, but like it has professional athletes in it, and that's really a showcase for them. The divide becomes, how do athletes do both? And the question is, will they do both, or should they do both? I'm in the camp that says pro track and an international track need to be two separate things. The best pros should have a stage for them to celebrate what they do, competing against each other. And again, I'm talking from the American context. Of course, I would love to see the best international athletes, from all over the world, from Europe, from the Caribbean, from Africa. Like, I'd love to see all of you all, Australia. Like, I'd love to see those athletes be incorporated, but it's not necessary. It would be an American league or an American competition space. And then if those athletes, want to be a part of that, they can opt in or opt out, but it's okay. Like, I think the international scene, like, that's cool. That's great. But there should be something on the other side. But right now, everything is rowing in the direction of world championships. So it doesn't matter what we do on the pro circuit. That is the problem. It's not set up where there's pro over here and international over there. We use whatever we call pro to prepare for the Worlds. So when Gabby Thomas pulled out of the World Championships, it's not just her pulling out. It's her pulling out of the biggest event of the year, which makes everything else you've done not matter. Like, that's just how it is. Best case scenario for Grand Slam track, like, assume, like, if we weren't dealing with some of the, the craziness or the conversation or, I guess, negative publicity around the league and, inner workings around money and so on. If that didn't happen, let's just say they did the 4 slams and we were now living on the other side of it. The best case scenario for Grand Slam track this year would be for the following athletes, at least in the sprinting events, to win the world. 1, you would want Gabby Thomas or Melissa Jefferson Wooden or Kenny Bednarek, or for that matter, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, like, these are the people who Mara Lady Paulino as well, but she's not American. So from an American context, you would want them to go over and win the world in their events. If they did that, after being in Grand Slam track, it would further validate the concept and, I guess, move the needle forward in terms of seeing how one thing leads to the other. Because unfortunately, they're not separate things. It's not like you win a championship over here, we celebrate it, and then you win one over there. Remember, the pro stuff prepares us. Gabby Thomas did a whole bunch of things this season that were entertaining to watch, and trust me, I was paying attention to all of those races. But none of those things are going to actually take her or put her in that moment where everybody's going to be watching. If you're a woman who's sprinting for, it's anywhere else in the world or even American for that matter, in the 200, this does make your life a whole lot easier. Just being real. When it comes to the American relay teams, Gabby Thomas was there winning gold on the 4x1 and the 4x4 last year at the Olympics. So that's a spot you're going to have to fill or like switch around in both finals. That said, we have the talent. We'll be all right. Like when it comes to the relays, we've got more than enough people to choose from if that's all we're focused on. But there's way more to the game, like way more to the conversation than just that. I wish Gabby Thomas the best. And I hope that she's not, I hope there's no one else, who we hear about in the next few days or the coming weeks who, pulls out. But remember, we've seen this happen in the past. So I got to land here. Shericka Jackson wasn't there at the Olympics. And you can say what you want, but because I know that her at her best is way better than anybody else in the world in the 200, it does change the game a little bit if you really are a track person who's watching the Olympics go off in the 200 without her. Because the only reason she wasn't out there competing at a high level was injury. That's it. She wasn't able to go at that moment. But if you had to make a trade, again, especially in the American context, between the Olympics and the Worlds, the Olympics matters a whole lot more than the Worlds. So if you knew that going out there to win a medal at the Olympics meant you wasn't going to run at the Worlds the following year, I'm pretty sure an American athlete would take it because their contract is set up to prioritize one over the other pretty legitimately. I think that's the case for many athletes around the world, but again, I'm just going to keep it parked at home for the moment. But in the past, like there are other athletes, like you go back to Elaine Thompson, Hurrah, and others, like there are athletes who really dominated or really showcased great, amazing ability and won medals at the Olympics, who maybe didn't have quite the same success at the World Championships. And we don't remember them that way because the Olympics is the moment in this international framework. And it will remain the moment because that's the one that the sports world is paying attention to. Again, in the American context, we don't pay attention to the world at all. Only track people, which, hey, I'm in that group. I'm a track person. I pay attention to the World Championships, but I don't think just about anybody else who's not in the track community is paying attention. I mean, if you win a World Championship gold medal and you're American, specifically in a premier event, maybe you'll get like a blurb on ESPN, like a brief little write-up that just kind of announces that it happened so quickly and so swiftly. It won't be on TV or anything like that. Like if you're on the app, you might notice it. Maybe if you don't click on the story, you won't even know what you're looking at. Like, this is where we are. This is just where it's at. So, Gabby Thomas will not be running at the World Championships. It's a disappointment. It's unfortunate, but it's the situation that we're living in. And this situation is a whole lot bigger than Gabby Thomas, whether or not we realize it. In the sport of track and field, race day is honestly the easy part, because all of the real work gets put in when nobody is watching. When you wear every day is training day gear, you can let the whole world know that your success in competition is not an accident. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below, and it always comes with free shipping. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.